Did you know? Just having recipes will not determine your success on a plant-based diet. That's because this lifestyle is way more than just knowing a few good meals to make. What you need is a fuller, more holistic approach to your diet transition if you really want to thrive long-term eating plant-based. And one key area that needs to be developed is this, your mindset. You need a strong plant-powered mindset to accompany your new way of eating and living. So let me ask you this. Have you gotten the right mindset to go with your new lifestyle and eating habits? If not, you may manage for a little bit, but will likely fall back soon into old eating habits. So what's this plant-powered mindset you'll need? There are many parts to building a strong plant-powered mindset, but in today's episode, I'll share with you one essential piece of that mindset puzzle. This shift in perspective will help you grow mentally into a lasting plant-powered way of life, even as you build and nourish your body physically. Ready? Grab your earbuds and join me in this episode. Welcome to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. I'm your host, Anna Zinn, plant-based registered dietitian and transition coach. Hi friend, do you want to regain your health with plant-based eating but feel overwhelmed and lost about how to do it? Do you feel it'll be hard to change your meat-heavy diet and impossible with working, running the home, or chasing after the grandkids? If so, you're in the right place. Here you'll find simple strategies, clear nutrition guidance, and practical tips to help you thrive plant-powered with more energy. So if you're ready to ditch the guesswork and transform your health the stress-free way, cozy up now with a hot cup of tea or listen while you walk, and let me show you how doable plant-based eating can be. Let's do this. I first want to thank a listener with Apple ID P31 Entrepreneur for taking the time to write and leave this 5-star review on the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. She wrote, "Simple steps to level up your diet. I'm so glad I came across this podcast. I enjoy listening to Anna Zinn's friendly voice. Her tips for transitioning from a meat-based to a plant-based diet are doable baby steps. Highly recommend for anyone looking for ways to improve their diet." Teresa from the Faith Food Fellowship podcast. Thank you so much, Teresa, for this kind 5-star review. I'm so glad to hear that you're finding the tips given on this podcast to be doable and manageable for helping you move from a meat-based diet to a plant-based one. Yes, they are meant to be tangible and simple to implement. I hope this podcast will continue to help you in your transition to a plant-powered life. Friend, would you like to support this podcast too? It will definitely help reach more people like Teresa to support them in their plant-based diet transitions. If so, all you need to do is take a quick moment to leave a rating and written review on Apple Podcasts. If you have an Apple device, find the Apple Podcast app icon. It's a purple square with white circles. Open it, then search for Plant-Based Eating Made Easy. Once there, scroll all the way down past the 5-star symbols, then click on Write a Review. Leave a star rating, write your review, and then tap Send. You can also leave a review if you have iTunes downloaded on your PC computer. I would love to hear how this podcast is making a difference in your health and life. And your review may be picked to be spotlighted on an episode too. So take a moment to pause this episode right now and leave a review. Then carry on listening. Thank you so much for taking a moment to support this podcast. Now let's move into today's topic. When starting a plant-based diet transition, I see many people falling into a certain trap. What is it? It's the recipe trap. They get caught up into the whirlwind of searching for, looking up, and scouring the internet and online communities like Facebook groups for plant-based meal ideas and recipes. Yes, making plant-based meals is an important part, but that's not all of it. In fact, if that's all you're focusing on, It will be difficult for you to succeed and truly thrive eating plant-based. This was the experience of one of my clients. At the beginning of our working relationship, she shared this with me. I tried plant-based eating 3 years ago, but faded back to my standard diet after approximately 8 months. I was only focusing on learning to make certain recipes, and over time realized the time required to make complicated recipes was not sustainable. It's clear then that having just recipes isn't enough. And when my client shared this with me, I knew why. It's because the infrastructure had not been set up properly to support her desired new lifestyle. Let me explain this with a house building analogy. If you want a good, solid, secure home that will stand for years and be able to weather the elements well, you'll need to first set up a strong foundation, solid walls, and a good, secure roof before you can move on to do any interior designing and decorating. Just think of the story of the 3 little pigs and the houses they built. So to me, good plant-based recipes are only one piece of the success puzzle when it comes to plant-based eating. But other critical pieces need to be in place in order for a plant-based diet lifestyle to really stick and bring about the health transformation desired. This is why I focus on 4 key pillars in my Plant Nourish Transition Success Method, which I use to help coaching clients and students in my Plant Power Life Transformation course. These essential elements are mindset building, foundation setting, smart recipe integration, and lifestyle success strategies. And this is the reason why my coaching clients are able to sustain a plant-powered lifestyle years down the road, even after we stop working together. They have been set up well and given the right tools in their plant-based diet toolbox to thrive for life. So today, in this episode, I want to help you build up a plant-powered mindset by sharing one key perspective shift you need to make when you begin this new way of eating. And it's this. Start looking at the foods on your plate differently. How? Instead of seeing them as single nutrient foods, see the foods you're eating as full package combos. If you can make this perspective shift, it'll be huge. Let me explain why. We have a tendency to oversimplify things when it comes to food. Maybe because the rest of life is so complicated, or because we're so influenced by social media and what we see or hear in popular media. So different foods, sadly, become vilified and compartmentalized into certain nutrient categories. I'm sure you're familiar with this. Just think of what you've heard or have come to believe. Things like meats are protein, or grains are high carb, or fruits are sugar. Thinking in these simplistic black and white terms won't be helpful, though, if you're trying to establish a plant-powered lifestyle. Because you'll be forever thinking you're going to lack nutrients like protein if you eat only plants, since meats provide protein, and may avoid certain food categories like grains since they only provide carbs. Now, for certain foods, this single category classification can be true, like for refined oils, which are truly a fat source with little to no other nutrients. But keeping this view for all foods is too simplistic, especially when you are moving to a plant-based diet. It's simply not true. Here's the truth. Natural whole plant-based foods are not single nutrient foods. They're actually multi-nutrient foods. Each fruit, vegetable, whole grain, or bean variety comes as a whole package of nutrients to nourish our bodies. So each plant-based food provides our bodies with protein, carbohydrate, fiber, water, as well as many vitamins and minerals. That's why you can't categorize them as only containing a single macronutrient, like protein, carbohydrates, or fat. Here's just one example, quinoa. Quinoa is a whole grain, and unlike what many think, it is not just made up of carbs. In fact, 1 cooked cup of quinoa already provides over 8 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, 2.7 milligrams of iron, and 2 milligrams of zinc. It is also a great source of micronutrients like magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, choline, as well as calcium, folate, and B vitamins. So I hope you see that every time you eat a natural whole plant-based food, you'll get a package deal of both macro and micronutrients, along with many phytonutrients and disease-fighting compounds. That's why these foods are the most nourishing for our bodies. There's another way I want you to think about this package deal concept. Tell me if you've had this experience. When you go to a fast food restaurant and order a meal, don't they often try to sell you a combo meal, one with a soda, burger, and fries along with it? It all comes together as a complete package at the same time. Well, though meats can be a good protein source, it's important to remember that they also come packaged with undesirable components like saturated fat, cholesterol, and zero fiber. Fish and shellfish can also be a protein source, but can come packaged with toxic contaminants like mercury, PCBs, dioxins, and microplastics. So evaluate the quality and kinds of nutrients you want to get as a package when you make your food choices. So today we looked at the wrong mentality to have when moving to plant-based eating. It's to think of foods simplistically as only providing one major nutrient. But thinking this way will only blacklist certain nutrient-rich foods like fruits, which is unfortunate. It shortchanges them because it implies that they are inferior or contain less nutrients than what is actually in them. These clear-cut categories are man-made. It's not how nature designed natural whole plant-based foods to be. Instead, adopt a new perspective and viewpoint. Choose to see whole plant-based foods the way they really are, as wonderfully rich packages of macro and micronutrients designed to nourish our bodies in the right way. Thinking this way will help you worry less about lacking nutrients and more able to enjoy these nourishing foods that nature designed for us. If you're serious about moving to a plant-based diet and making this a lifelong journey, I hope you will adopt this key mindset shift. Changing our mindset is a big part of being successful in a plant-powered lifestyle. Here's an action step you can take. Consider what kind of package deal or combo meal you want to provide your body going forward. Is it one that would nourish it or one that would harm it? Then, this week, try to see the foods on your plate in this new light and be more conscious about the foods you choose to put on your plate. I hope that this concept of seeing foods as multi-nutrient package deals will make it easier for you to choose the most healthful foods to focus on and eat, especially if your goal is for the best health. Friend, if you want to build a stronger plant-powered mindset, master the basics of plant-based eating, gain confidence and knowledge using ingredients and seasonings, and learn to make satisfying plant-based meals with them, go to plantnourish.com/PPLT course to find out if the online plant-powered life transformation course is right for you. I would love to support you more in your plant-based diet journey through this course. Thank you for listening to the Plant-Based Eating Made Easy podcast. If this podcast has helped you, please rate and leave a written review on the Apple Podcast app or iTunes to let me know. Nothing will lift me up more than to read your review and see how this podcast has made a difference in your life. I also pick reviews to read on this show, so your review could be one of them. Come connect with me in my free Facebook community group, Beginners for Plant-Based Diet Success. Just go to bit.ly/PB Diet Success. That's bit.ly/PB Diet Success. You can also subscribe and follow this podcast to get notified when a new episode goes live. Signing off now, this is Anna, and I wish you the best health always.